All right, go ahead. I'm recording it. Go do the chant.
You ready? G-O.
You know.
G-O.
You know.
G-O.
You know.
And if you don't know,
Now you know.
Well, that is awesome. So, Geo, Glen Oaks. I got it. Good. That and look at Ms. Banguel. She's clapping for you. That was
I don't have the Robert Signator chant voice yet. I'm working on that.
okay. Wow. All right, y'all go ahead and sign in. Michael Davis, you've been on first and you still hadn't signed in. It's like you sign in and leave. All right, let's see. Lily's here, Brian's here, Banga's here, Tenaria. Okay, so if y'all see Michael Davis come in, or if he put something in chat, let me know. I've been calling his name for about 8 times now. Okay, so let's look at the agenda. We have a lot to do. Okay, so remember the last meeting you had 2 assignments to do, and let me go back to the agenda from last week. Let's see. Recordings. All right, so here's the agenda from last week. And there was these 2 assignments right here. We asked you to look at staff roles and responsibilities and staffing requirements. So those are the 2 that I asked you to look at. All right. Ms. Manguel. Ms. Manguel. Ms. Manguel. Microphone does not work. Okay, so Ms. Manguel, did you do those 2 independent assignments? No, I did not. Okay. Ms. Manguel, make sure you do it for next time, please. Oh. Let's do another one. Oh, thank God it didn't land on the stream again. EBR readiness. Peggy.
Yes, sir.
Did you do those 2 independent reading assignments last week?
The independent assignment, that's task number 23 and 22?
No, Miss Lodden. It was you had to look at the information on staff roles and responsibilities and staffing requirements. Did you do that?
Yes, sir. I did.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Let me do one more. Northdale. No one's here from Northdale. So let me go another one. Well, I'd hate to ask. Michael Davis. I should have known not to ask. It's not there. Oh my God, what is this with the Struma? Banguel says the spinner likes her. All right, McKinley. Tenaria. Ms. Green.
Yes, sir.
Hey, did you do those 2 independent reading assignments from last week?
No, sir, I'm behind.
You're behind. Make sure you do it because and those are important because when you do your room supervisors and your proctors, there are certain requirements that must be met, and the room supervisors have certain roles as well. So they talk about the role that you have to do, the role that the room supervisor has to do, and the role that the proctor has to do. So it's very important that y'all do those independent tasks. Okay.
Yes, sir. I'll do it this weekend.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. All right, so let's go to number 3, testing with accessibility support. So that's page 6 through 11. Complete submission in, oops, that was last week's. I'm sorry, let me get rid of that. That was last week's. Let me go to this week's. All right. All right, so number 3, testing with accessibility supports. That was another assignment I gave you. I'm just going to skip that for right now. I'm not going to even ask if y'all did it. So let's see. Let's look at number 4, Leap Connect students. Okay, so Leap Connect students take the Leap Connect test, right?
Correct.
Okay, now, then the second bullet, you need to make sure that Leap Connect students, let me go ahead and expand this. And yes, it's being recorded. You need to make sure that Leap Connect student who is a senior has taken the Leap Connect test. If that student does not take the Leap Connect test, and the Leap Connect test is coming up pretty soon, it's before the ACT test, if that student does not take the Leap Connect test, the student is required to take the ACT test. That Leap Connect senior should already have been uploaded in PA Next by LDOE. So any Leap Connect students that's a senior, remember they don't have an ACT score. They didn't take the ACT last as a junior. So LDOE uploaded those students. So any senior, any Leap Connect senior should have been uploaded in by LDOE. You have to make sure that you verify that those students took the Leap Connect test. If they did not, they have to take the ACT test. Any questions on that? Say something if you don't understand this. I have a Leap Connect senior who transferred and already has taken the ACT, but I was told the students still need to take the Leap Connect. Zaviola, I have to check into that. Your school performance score, the state will either take the Leap Connect test or the ACT test. Chances are the student will perform better on the Leap Connect test, right? So I would go ahead and have that student take the Leap Connect test. I don't know. You stated you were told that student still needs to take the Leap Connect. I don't know the answer to that question. I can find out. But even if the student did not have to take it, the ACT test is a lot harder than the Leap Connect test. So in terms of helping your school out, I would have the student take the Leap Connect test. But I will find out the question to your answer and then let you know. All right, any other questions about Leap Connect?
I don't have a question, but I did want to mention we had a Leap Connect student last year who was a junior, and she is homebound. We had to get a doctor's statement saying that she could not participate in the testing during the entire test window. So we use that as an accountability code. And I think the same thing is going to happen with her again this year.
Okay. Well, as long as you get a doctor's excuse, then you're fine. You have to submit all that documentation.
Yeah, I know we did with the cleanup. I did with the cleanup last year.
Okay. All right. So if the Leap Connect student, if that student doesn't take the Leap Connect test in this month, in February, then, and that student does not take the ACT test, then at the end, remember at the end of testing is when you go into PA Next and you indicate why a student did not take the test. So you would say that Leap Connect student who did not take the Leap Connect test and who did not take the ACT test, you would indicate that that student has a doctor's excuse, was ill, whatever it may be. You would have to, and you would have to submit the documentation to accountability to send to LDOE. All right. So you're going to have some Leap Connect students that's a senior, right? And when at the end, let me just say this, at the end of testing, when you go in to indicate why a student did not take the ACT test, which students are you interested in doing that with? Is it juniors or seniors or both? You remember?
Seniors.
Seniors only. So you'd only do that with seniors. So a Leap Connect student, the Leap Connect student took the Leap Connect test. Obviously, the student's not going to take the ACT. Why do that? So you would indicate at the end that the student was a Leap Connect student and took the Leap Connect test. All right. So any questions on Leap Connect? All right. Number 5. So we talked about some ongoing tasks. So task number 15 was provide students with the preparing for the ACT. So that was one of them. Let's see. Bel Air. Ms. Gilmore, you there? Ms. Gilmore.
Yes.
All right. Did you do that task yet? Did you provide the students with that document?
I have not done that test yet. Miss Ruffin is on,
Oh, she is? Okay.
so she may have done it. She usually does it, and then we collaborate.
Okay. Karen Ruffin.
Sir?
Did you give the students that document preparing for the ACT?
No, sir, not yet. That's a task that I will be working on next week.
All right. Why do you think that would be important to do?
So they be familiar with the new testing platform.
Yes, and then there's some full ACT practice tests in there. Yes, thank you for that response. All right, task 16, qualified exceptions to the deadline. Let's see. Well, actually, I'm just going to ask this. Did anyone have to do that yet? Did anyone complete qualified exceptions to the deadline at this point?
No.
Okay. So can anyone tell me when that would be used? An example of when that would be used? Number 16. Task 16.
Michael, I just had one last week. She was a sophomore, and then they reclassified her as a junior, and she needed 504 accommodation. So I had to submit her request and that documentation.
All right. Did you get an approval yet?
Yeah, it got approved.
Okay, good. All right. Thank you.
And I've matched her in Pan-X and everything.
Okay. All right, great. Thank you. All right. So Ms. Veal, if any of you have that situation and you have questions about the process, Ms. Veal's already done it. So she had a situation where she had to use that qualified exception to the deadline form. All right. So verify match, no match. Any questions on that? Y'all okay with going in and making sure that all of those seniors without an ACT score was listed, right, in PA Next? Chances are a lot of those seniors, I shouldn't say a lot, but some of those seniors are probably Leap Connect students because they would not have had an ACT score. All right, what about task 18? Any questions on that? Now that one, task 18, where you had to verify and correct student information, that was the most involved, especially at a big school where you have over 400 students. You had to go and verify the LACID was correct, the name was spelled correct, the date of birth was correct, and all that. Any questions on task 18? Okay, task 19 was verified enrollment counts. So let's go to PA next. So task 18 was verify enrollment counts. So let's see. All right. Oops, let's try this again. All right, Ms. Bankwell, can you send me that in an email, because I'm going to forget, about that Leap Connect question, please? All right, so I'm going to a school. I'm going to go to Broadmoor High School. And then I'm going to go to, well, I'm going to ask this. Miss Rubin. Miss Rubin.
Yes, sir.
Hey, could you tell me where to go in PA Next to get to that enrollment count? Do you remember?
I believe it's under, I did this yesterday, testing. Is it student test?
Mm-mm. No, not quite. Is Mary around?
I think I remember.
It's okay. Who said that?
Tenaria.
Tenaria, where would you go?
Set up.
Set up, okay.
And then organizations.
All right. Click on the
And
school
then you
name.
click the school. Then go to start.
Mm-hmm.
All tasks.
And
then go to edit enrollment counts.
Okay, thank you. All right, so I'm at Broadmoor, so I'm going to click on the little plus symbol right here. And so Broadmoor has 133 standard time students. I'm not going to open this. Well, I'm going to stop recording. I'm going to open it. All right, so I'm going to stop recording. I'm going to open it just to show you something. So it's not being recorded. So let me go ahead and pause. All right, Mr. Odom, are you there? Mr. Odom. Hey, so when you went and you checked on all those names, what did you do with that information? What was the purpose of going here to standard time and then looking at this number, looking at the names, and then doing the same thing with the paper, well, I mean with the accommodations, looking at their names? What was the purpose?
Making sure everything is correct.
Yes, thank you. All right. Now, when I go to that translated test instructions, let's see if he has any. So he has 20. Wow. Mr. Odom, I have a question for you. Okay, so notice you have 27 altogether, 27 translated test instructions for English learners, right? But in your accommodations, there's only 22. There's something wrong here.
Some of those kids.
Hello? Mr. Odom.
It's not available for some of them.
What's not available for some of them?
The language.
Okay, so you have 20 translated instructions, accommodations, test booklet, other 26. So you're saying some of those 26, because they're sending you 26, right?
Correct.
But you only have 22 altogether paper formats that are being sent. I don't know. I think you need to look at that a little bit more. Okay. All right. So that was Broadmoor. Let me go to another school. Anyone want me to check their school or have a discussion about it? Let's go.
Yes, I'd like you to check my school.
Who is that? I'm sorry.
EBR Virtual.
Let me find it. EBR Virtual. We're here. Okay, so add enrollment counts. So standard time, you have 88. So Ms. Lodge, did you go into this link and check the students to make sure those were correct? Ms. Lodge?
Yes, I
You
did.
did. Okay, good. And then accommodations, you have 25 online accommodations. You did the same thing, right?
Yes.
Okay. And then you obviously don't have any Braille. Let's check translated. Okay, so that's it. You don't have any translated. So, all right. So you have 88 students, standard time, and then 25 accommodations. All right. So you verified, Miss Lodge, you verified that all the juniors at your school right now, as of yesterday, let's say, are in one of these. Is that correct? Miss Lodge? You need to repeat the question.
Yes.
Did you verify that every junior at your school is listed either standard time or accommodations?
Well, if they have enrolled, if they've recently enrolled, no, but I have verified.
Okay, so anytime a junior comes to your school, and I would imagine that the upload information was obtained from our SIS probably in October, so, or early November. So if you had a student come to your school in December, I would go in, especially that student's a junior, I would go in and verify that student is listed. So you need to look at all the juniors at your school and make sure that they're here. Now, you also need to make sure that any senior without an ACT score is listed here as well. All right, so that's something you all need to do. Ms. Banga, did you do that? Did you verify that every senior at your school that does not have an ACT score is listed?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let me
Can
go
you
to.
please check, Mr. Dowd?
Sure.
Please check the phone? All right.
So I'm going to Arlington. And enrollment counts. All right, you have 23 standard time students. That's what that's saying, Ms. Banga.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. They're all Leap Connect.
Okay. So all these students are Leap Connect. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, sir.
All right. Have all and all these students will have taken the Leap Connect test. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So since they will have taken the Leap Connect test, do they need to take the ACT test?
Oh, sir.
Okay, good. They do not. You have 4 accommodations paper and then 1 audio kit. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I'm going to stop pause. I'm going to stop recording. So remember, when we looked at the audio kit, remember anyone with an audio kit is timing code 3. Timing code 3. So timing code 3 is triple time. Timing code 3 is triple time. All right. And then for reading, not reading, I'm sorry, English for ELA, it's 180 minutes, right? 180 minutes. Okay. All right. Any questions on all of this? If you have any, let me know before we move on. Okay. All right. Then. Okay. Have all of you gone in and linked the PIN numbers in PA Next?
No, I haven't.
Miss Line, you got to do that, okay? And you don't have that many. Let me go and quickly look at yours. So you don't have that many. So you should be able to do that in an hour, maybe. I forgot how many you have.
I have 15 total.
Okay, yeah, you can do that in less than 15 minutes. So it needs to be done. Let's see, real quick. All right, so EBR virtual, Miss Lodge,
Yes, sir.
did you go in and link the PIN numbers in PA Next?
No, I have not.
Okay, why is that important, Miss Lodge?
So that so that the students, you'll know,
Okay, so all right, let me see. Let me go ahead and
I'm sorry, I was on mute.
it's okay. Scotlandville, Miss Harris.
Yes.
Hey, could you tell us why it's important that task number 20 be done, linking TA PIN numbers in PA Next?
Okay, when you link the numbers, it shows you what accommodations the students were approved for, and that just it shows up in your enrollment counts to make sure that the students who receive accommodations, approved accommodations, will receive the correct format for testing. If you don't link them, they may possibly get just a regular time test.
Okay, good. So remember, all TAA is just you uploading documentation and then the analyst going in and approving the authorizations. That's all that is. And TAA is used for national testing, special testing, districts testing, state testing. That's all TAA is. But in order for students to actually take the test, those tests are ordered through PA Next. So you have to go back in PA Next and you got to link all those PIN numbers so the student gets the correct test. Because if you don't, that student is probably going to end up with a standard time test. So it's very important that you do that as quickly as possible. All right.
Michael,
Yes.
on Saturday, like the ones I had with the very long names, my ESL students,
Uh-huh.
ACT automatically linked some of those.
Yes.
I just went back and changed them to paper.
Yep. Okay, good. All right. So whatever it's saying is that for some of those students that took the national test, ACT went in his case, for some of them, I guess all of them maybe, went in and linked the PIN numbers. So some of those may already be linked. You just got to verify.
Yeah, some are linked. The numbers, if you see the TA number sitting there, that means they linked it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you change that student to paper, so you got to go back and hit paper, and then hit the link button again, and then save.
Okay. All right. So verify the link and verify the format's correct, whether it's paper or online. Someone has a question. Let me see who that is.
That's me, Miss Bangel.
Okay.
I switched devices. I'm seeing my TAA pins as well. I had a question for Everett. Since this is our first time doing online, do you think it's more beneficial to have those students with accommodations do paper?
That's what I did. Everyone that had accommodations, I moved them to paper.
Okay. Michael, is that still possible for my group?
Yes. Now I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this to everybody. Next year, you know how LDOE tries to, I shouldn't say tries to, they always make decisions, and sometimes it's not always the easiest to follow. So next year they're saying that any student with accommodations, and I'm going to paraphrase that in a little while, any student with accommodations that can take it online is going to be required to take it online. I don't agree with that, but that's LDOE's decision, because you do have students with accommodations that can do better on the ACT test if they have the paper in front of them. So it should always be what's best for the student. And sometimes what's best for the student is to have a paper test. But that is LDOE's rationale for next year. So if a student needs large type, then that would probably be paper-based. But anything else is going to be online according to them. But Ms. Banquel, yes, you can go ahead and still do that now. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. But it should always be what's best for the student. What's going to help the student out the most. And sometimes we don't always think like that.
Michael, this
Michael,
is Andrea, not
you have to fill out for that
to change them to paper?
Say it again?
Is there a form we have to fill out to change them to paper?
No, you just do that in PA Next.
Oh, okay, good. All right, thanks.
Yeah, based on Miss Lyon's question, does anyone want to, and I'm not going to do the wheel here, does anyone want to show her where to go to change the format?
I can show Michael.
Okay, so let me go ahead and exit task here. Now, I'm recording this, but when I get to a student information, I have to stop recording. All right, so I'm at the home page, and let me go to her school. So EBR, Miss Lyon, it's virtual or EBR readiness?
Hi. EBR readiness, hi.
Okay, so let me find it. EBR readiness. Okay. All right, so Everett, go ahead.
Okay, you go on to setup. Students.
Students, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, God. All right, did Michael Davis ever show up?
What you need, Mike?
Oh, good. Mike, I was calling you earlier, asking some questions, but I was just wondering if you shown up yet. Thank you. All right, so let's see. We are on. Yes?
Mike, I do have a question. This is Andrea again.
Uh-huh.
When we are working with unenrolled and enrolled, and they have not unenrolled a student from the list that you sent out, just continue waiting. You received the email stating that they did enroll that student or enroll the students, but you have not seen that student unenroll yet. So just continue waiting or send in another unenrolled or enrolled
Okay,
file.
so you're saying you sent in a form, and you put that in PA Next, right? You put a form in PA Next for an enroll. Is that correct?
Yes, for both enroll and unenrolled.
It usually takes 2 to 5 days. How many days ago was this?
This is going on the 6th day.
All right, so then I would call ACT and ask about it.
All righty.
All right. Okay, operational reports. So let me remind you where to go to get that. Why would getting some of these operational reports be important? Anyone?
I took the organizational report and looked at it against my school roster for the juniors.
Okay, so but other than Mr. Odom, can someone tell us where to go to get those operational reports?
Go to reports,
Okay.
operational reports.
There you go. Now now we're going to go to student and registrations right here, and then this one you're going to need. So you see where it says accommodation support roster. So when you click on that, and then let's see, I'm hoping. Okay, so be careful. If you click download report right now, that's not the one you want. Can someone look at this? And it may be very tiny on your part, but can someone look at this and tell me why, and I'm at EBR readiness right now, why clicking on download report is not going to be sufficient?
Because of the date.
Because of the date. The execution date is January 6th, so that's not today. So what should EBR readiness do to get the most current report?
Request report refresh.
Yep. Good. And then you go and you filter. So this is EBR readiness. The test would be ACT. And then leave that as it is. And then refresh report. And then you get this. Your report request has been submitted. Check back in a few minutes. Waiting for report to complete. I would just go ahead. You see those little back arrow, curved arrows? Just go ahead and refresh. And then notice the date. Execution date is 1/27. Let's download report. All right, now I'm going to pause because I don't know where it's going to open up, which window, which monitor it's going to open up on. So let me pause this. All right, so this is the operational report. It's called the accommodation support roster. Why would this report be important? Anyone?
You can check to see if the correct accommodations are listed for the students.
Okay. So
It also helps with grouping them,
yes.
you know, by rooms, by the timing codes.
Timing codes. So all these students have timing code 6. The other thing you got to do is match this. You have to match this with, I'm going to move this over. You have to match this with, I'm going to go back to setup. I'm going back to organization here. And then you have to match this with the edit enrollment counts. So when I go to accommodations, there's 5, right? 5. So you see that 5 right here? When I go here, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have to make sure that those student names right here are the same as these student names. So EBR readiness, Ms. Lawton, did you do that?
Yes, sir, I did.
Okay, so those 5 students that's in that hyperlink right here, you verified that those were the same 5 students here. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. All right. Now, Miss Veal, you had an issue with yours. Is that correct?
Yes, I didn't do the step about refresh. I just did it while y'all a minute ago, and all my names came up.
Okay, good. All right, good. So what happened was when Ms. Veal called me earlier today, I think it was like 6 o'clock in the morning. She, and I'm just joking about 6 o'clock in the morning, by the way. Remember that little park right here where I forgot where we went. Where we went to reports, operational reports, and was it here? Mr. Odom, you remember where we had to click on refresh and all that? Was it here?
It was under.
It was here, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was there. So what Ms. Veal did was she went straight to download report. She forgot to look at the execution date. Always look at the execution date. So to be on the safe side, whenever you go to this report again, I would go to request report refresh. That's what I would do. Okay? All right. But it is important that you check. And I'm going to go back to this, setup, organization, and all tasks. It is important when you go to enrollment, edit enrollment counts, you check your accommodation names with what you see in the accommodation support roster. All right. Now, something else I want to remind you is that if I go back to the reports, operational reports, there's another one here that's important. I mean, there's all kinds of reports you can get. Let's see. There was another one I told you to look at before in one of the videos. There was one where it actually listed their accommodations. Does this list the accommodations? I've closed so many of them. Student. No. All right, so that's not
Michael,
yes.
Try resizing the column there.
Well, it's been, okay, I'm going to stop recording and do that. Let's see. I'm going to stop recording. All right, so this student here has timing code 6, but it says this, see up here, ELL instruction Spanish, ELL, that word-to-word dictionary. You see that? So that student also gets a word-to-word dictionary. And then over here, accommodation test book and translated instructions. So he gets a lot more. He gets audio kit, this student gets audio kit. So it tells you in his case a little bit more detail. So this student has timing code 3, has an audio kit. This student that has timing code 3 has an audio kit and large type. So any questions on this? Now I'm looking at this one right here, Mr. Odom. I'm going to go to timing code 3 for this student. This says pre-recorded audio. What is no other one had if I go to this, I guess all the audio kits are pre-recorded then, right? Yes. Okay.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. All right. Okay. So when and this report's important because when you're on January 31st, you can go into PA Next and start creating your actual test sessions on January 31st. So when you create your test sessions, you got to remember you cannot mix timing codes. And even with the same timing codes, if they have different other accommodations, you cannot mix them. So you got to make sure that students in the same room have the same timing code with the same accommodations. All right. So notice some of Mr. Odom has word-to-word dictionary, some do not for that timing code 6. So he's going to have to separate those students. So they have to have
Michael,
the same
they've been
accommodations.
separated already, and the ones that don't have the dictionaries, those are the timing code 6 for the 504 students.
Okay. All right. Okay. So notice that Broadmoor High had a little bit more detail to go by than EBR. What was it? Readiness? EBR Readiness. All there said was, and I'll show you it again, all there said was timing code 6. So you see this timing code 6? They get no other accommodations except time and a half, single day. They don't get word-to-word dictionary. See, notice, I want you to notice something. See, you don't see any other thing, right? But for this timing code 6 right here for Mr. Odom, his student gets a word-to-word dictionary. That is the way that Mr. Odom requested it. So EBR Readiness did not request word-to-word dictionary. EBR Readiness did not request translated test directions. All EBR Readiness requested was time and a half, and that's it. All right, so it's whatever you requested for that student in TAA that ACT will look at and see if they can authorize it.
Michael, question.
Uh-huh.
Okay. I was under the impression that if it wasn't on their accommodations, then I could not request additional information.
No, one of our meetings, I told you for the EL students, I said, go ahead and request everything that's available for them in TAA.
Okay, I don't have any EL.
Mr. Dozak.
Yes.
We have that situation here, and our ESL lead teacher was told do not request it if it is not on their LEP. So therefore, I didn't request directions in native language or any of that because it's not on the student's LEP.
All right, I'm just telling you what ACT told us to do. So ACT said there were 4 things you could have requested: translated test directions, word-to-word dictionary, time and a half, and I forgot what the other one was. And so if you were told not to do it, then I would do whatever you were told not to do. Okay. But I'm telling you, Miss Ruffin, these are EL students, right? That you're referring to? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Don't you think? But don't you think in the classroom that these students should be using a word-to-word dictionary?
I understand. They're receiving the word-to-word. They're not receiving the directions in their native language.
Okay. Well, all right. But so you did request word-to-word dictionary. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, why wouldn't they be receiving on a test? Why wouldn't they be receiving?
I have that situation going on right now. Discussion. The lead specialist here, teacher for ESL, is being directed by someone in the district. No, but I had to let them know that the ESL students can receive the directions in their native language, because undoubtedly they weren't aware that the students here in the state of Louisiana can receive those accommodations. Because as it stands right now, our students would not receive directions in native language on none of the tests.
Okay. Well, I have sympathy for someone that comes to our country that is struggling with language, and anything we can do, especially for education, that can provide them with opportunities to succeed, we need to try and do that.
Michael, I also have some LEAP students. They're LEAP classified in J Campus, but when you pull up their accommodations, it says none, and I question that also.
I'm sorry, what was that?
When you pull up their IAP, it says, even though they're LEAP, when you look at accommodations for testing, it says none. And I did question that, and she told me no. As far as testing was concerned, they did not receive any additional accommodations.
Well, you can only go by what's on the IEP then.
Yeah. And I also wanted to mention on EBR readiness, it's not going to show what she requested in TAA for accommodations if she hasn't verified yet. Once you verify whatever she requested in TAA, it'll show up. So I don't know if she verified or not.
I'll go back and check that, because I thought I did, but I may not have. But I'll go back and check that particular test.
All right, but keep in mind that this report you need to use when setting up your sessions.
Oh yes, I did. I set my sessions up according to that.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Mr. Dozat,
Yes.
as it relates to our EL students, I know that there are some changes as it relates to what accommodations they can have and what accommodations they can't have. And now the EL department is looking at the length of time that they've been on having an EL checklist, because we did also have students whose EL checklist was changed and accommodations were taken off. But the other thing, as it relates to translated directions, I thought that whatever they're getting during the regular school year in every class is what they're supposed to test with. Mm-hmm. So if they're not getting the information in Spanish in their class, then they wouldn't get it on the test, correct?
That's correct. But you would, I'm going back to that little soapbox. If anything that can help ESL student, especially when they're struggling with the English language, and it pertains to education, we need to try and help. But yeah, if they're not using the classroom, then they shouldn't be using it on the ACT test.
But the thing is, with the students using the Chromebooks, they have the ability to change any and everything that we send them to their native language. And there are a lot of programs out there that the kids are using. So I'm like you. I feel that if they're just coming in here in the country, yes, they should have the directions in their native language. At least if they've been here 2 years or less. I understand if they were born here or they've been here more than 4 or 5 years, but 2 years or less, I feel that they need the directions in their native language because they're still learning the English language.
Yeah, but you go by what's on the IP and whatever was used in the classroom. So if they were not using word-to-word dictionary and they're able to do it and they were not using it, then they shouldn't be using it on a test, because then when it comes to the test, they'll be struggling with how to use it. So they have to know how to use all those accommodations for testing, and that has to be done during the classroom. Okay. All right. So any questions on using this, though, to set up your test sessions? All right. Now let's go back to the agenda. All right. So the new test, the mock administration. All right. So I sent you an email beginning of the week about going into the training and creating a mock, creating some sessions. Okay, so let's suppose you're one of the schools that want to test 500 students in one day. Okay, according to our IT department, Chris Boisia, according to our IT department, you must, for the mock administration, you must test 500 examinees on that one day in mock administration. He's saying it has to match whatever you're doing during testing. So if the largest number of tests on a one day in regular testing is 500, then in the mock administration you want to create sessions that involve 500 examinees. Okay, any questions on that statement so far? All right, now I'm going to say this. So Michael Davis had this question: does your mock administration have to be the same, I guess the same format as your regular test? So in other words, do you have to put A through B in your mock administration, C through D in the next session? No. The way I would do it is I would just create. Michael, did you start creating your mock administration?
Mine's done.
Okay, let me go to yours, just see what yours look like. So I'm going to training. I'm going to sign in. Let's see. Okay, so go to Baton Rouge High School. And then go to sessions. All right, so these are Michael's sessions. All right, so he's, and remember, it's not prepared. We're going to talk about all that today and next time. So he's created 35 sessions altogether. Is that correct, Michael? 35 results. Mike?
You see them, 35.
All right, thank you. All right, so he created 35 sessions. All right, so he put in this first session, he put 25 examinees. In the next one, he put 25, and so on. Okay, and so the way I would do this, is during first period, have the students in your English classes, have the students in your math classes first period, however many you can get, open their Chromebooks, and then provide them with these authorization tickets and the seal codes. And it doesn't take more than 8 minutes for a student to go through the process, and then you're done. So I would see that first class that Michael set up. If I open it up, let me go to show students. All right, so those are the 25 students that Mike put in that first class. I would give those authorization tickets and the seal codes to, let's say, first period Dozat. Then I would go to the next session, give those authorization tickets to, let's say, first period Wells. You understand what I'm saying?
And it doesn't matter if they're 9th grade or 10th grade, right?
It does not matter. No, does not matter. Just get them, because you're just seeing if the infrastructure will support that many at once.
Got it.
Okay, does not matter whether it's 11th grade students, 12th grade students, 9th grade. I'm missing a grade, 10th grade. Does not matter. You just want 500 examinees taking the test at once. Okay, any questions? All right, now I sent y'all an email on how to create extra examinees. Yes, Ms. Banguel?
I was going to ask any other STCs who've done online, do you typically allow these students to stay where they are when you do mock, or do you have them report to to a testing room for those 10 minutes? Do you mock the entire day?
No.
Everything?
No. So no, and Miss Bangrell, no one's done this ever in this district. No. So the mock administration is not the entire day. Remember, it's only for 8 minutes. So Ms. Bangrell, what is the maximum number of students you're going to test on any one day?
I'm trying to test them all the first day.
How many students?
Approximately 200.
All right, so you're going to have to create some sessions with 200 examinees. Then, like Michael's doing, he's going to have all his first period classes, 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, 12th grade students, 200 of them, not the whole school, just 200 of them, go into that Chromebook, click on that little kiosk, go to Test Nav, and start taking that mock test. Okay. You don't do it the whole day. Just do that first period.
No, I meant when I said whole day, I meant like practice reporting to their test location.
Oh, I see.
That's what I meant by that.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. And I guess that would be the same thing with paper testing. Did any of you ever practice having students go to their testing location in the past?
We did that only when we had to do those non-testing portions.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. That's when we normally did it.
Yeah, the non-testing portion, and there are a couple of you, and I'll rat Michael Davis out, that will just have them do it on their own at their house. Now, sometimes for paper testing, Michael, didn't you have them all come into the cafeteria and just like a I don't know, that someone would come in, done.
Yeah, back in the good old days when we did paper, I would call them into the cafeteria and do all the personal demographic information so that on test day we just started with the test.
Oh, and right, and so since they now can do it in My ACT, you just had them do it at home?
Yeah, I ain't got time for that.
All right. So you could have them do it on their own at home, or you can just have them do it during one of their classes. And usually,
when can we start creating those accounts?
You can give the students that information now to create their accounts.
Okay.
But
are they gonna send those? Is it somewhere we could print everything like those papers they gave us last year?
I would wait, Autumn. I would wait until you get all that information in your box when it comes in.
Okay.
Yeah, I would just wait. I mean, you have time.
You can do a mail merge if you want to.
Yeah. I remember you get all those. Remember, like last year in the paper test, you would get the sheets where it has the students' information. You give that to them to do the My ACT. I would wait. I would wait until you get that information. It has all the instructions on it for them. So don't do anything right now. Just wait until you get that information in the order. All right. Okay. So does everyone know how to create more of these examinees? Because there's only 300 to 350. Remember, I sent you an email on that. Do you remember how to do that?
How many do we have loaded in our school right now?
I think you have around 300.
Okay, well, I'm good then.
Okay, so Michael Davis needed a lot more. Mary Wells may probably need a lot more. Liberty High may need a lot more. So you would have to go in and create more of these examinees. The rest of you have enough to work with. All right, so that is, so everybody okay on that mock administration that I sent you? All right.
Can you confirm with me one more time in the mock administration as well as the full administration, the maximum number of students that can be in a room with one room supervisor is 20 or less?
Well, let's go to the administration manual. So I'm going to the Canvas course. I'm going to manuals. I'm going to the online manual, open up. All right, so let me go ahead and expand it. All right, so let's see. It's usually at the beginning. I'm scrolling through, scrolling through. Let's go. All right, come on. I'm hoping it's getting closer. There we go. All right, so number of proctors needed for standard time ACT online. 1 to 30, proctors needed. 1 with an asterisk. It says ACT recommends the use of a proctor in the case of technical difficulties. That was the thing I was trying to get you to understand, Mary. This is online. This is not paper test. So what's going to happen is this. So for example, if when the room supervisor gives the students the seal code, the room supervisor has to go around and making sure that there's no issue with them entering the seal codes, and you know there will be. Some students are going to put the wrong digits. So you need someone else in there to help monitor all this so you don't delay any testing. So they recommend you have a proctor, and I recommend you have a proctor. Is it necessary? It says it's not required. But yes.
I have a question in reference.
Wait, hold on. One person. Karen, what's your question?
My question is reference to the COVID restrictions in terms of 6 feet and 3 feet, because that would make a difference in terms of the number of students that you can place in a particular room or location for testing.
You have to use the same criteria that your schools are using right now in the classroom. Okay.
It is not 6 feet.
Yeah. So if you go to those classrooms, Karen, you're telling me that in all your classrooms, your school is following the 6 feet thing.
Oh no, I was asking in reference to that.
What about
it? Because for 30 students to be in a classroom, you're talking about being 3 feet apart.
Oh, I don't think Mary's going to put Karen. I don't think Mary's going to put 30 students in a classroom. I don't think that anyone would do that.
I was just inquiring.
Okay. I would hope Mary would not put more than 20 students in there, but I can't speak for Mary. Miss Peggy, can you mute your mic, please? Everyone, what's your question?
Yes. Are they going to make ACT Day virtual since we need all this extra help?
All I can say is we have a new administration, and remember, his philosophy is that students need to be in the classroom. Okay.
Can someone at least request it?
You can request that through your executive director.
I sure will. Thanks.
Okay. All right. Okay. So that was that. It may not happen, Everett. So you better know that. Chances are it probably will not happen. Okay, so task 22 was the unenrolled students, and then there was another task that was enrolled students. And I sent that out as a reminder because through conversation with some of you were not doing the enroll. So make sure y'all, if a student leaves your school, unenroll that student. Should you ever unenroll a Leap Connect student that's still at your school?
No.
Leave the Leap Connect students alone. Only unenroll those students that leave your school. And you should do that up through the beginning of testing. It's a continuous process. The enroll as well. So if you have a student come to your school 2 days before testing, a junior or a senior, well, a junior, but if it's a senior without an ACT score, then quickly do an enroll form. All right. Okay, so number 8, the mock administration folder in Canvas. Let me show you where that is. So when you go to Canvas, the home page, Let's see, home page, come on. All right, here's the mock administration folder right here. So when I go to that, there are two things. So I sent you this video, and not all of you have seen it because there's only about a handful of you that viewed it. So this video will explain how the students will go through the 4 tests. For those of you that looked at that video, do you have any questions? It's a very simple process, isn't it? It takes about 8 minutes for them to go through the process. Who looked at the video?
I did, Michael. So when you said just make up, they can just make up information to put in?
No, Miss Lyon. So what happens is they don't make up information. Are you talking about them just putting any answers?
Yes.
Yeah, just putting the answers because all of this is just gibberish.
Okay.
You just want to see the infrastructure will support all of these tests being taken at the same time.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Okay. So thank you for the question. Anybody else? All right. Make sure you look at that, and then it's important you show the room supervisor. You don't have to show them this video, but you need to show them what the students would have to do to get through the process. They get the seal code, they open up the English test, and they do 5 items. Now there's a informational thing first, and I would just put some fake information in there. I would not put my real phone number in there. I would not put my real address in there. I would not put my real email address in there. I would make all that up. And that's what I said in that video.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. All right. And then for like Michael and Mary and probably Liberty, if you need to add more examinees in the mock administration, this will show you how to do that. Yes, Mary?
My question is that once we do like our mock administration, and I'm just saying we choose our 30 classes or 20 classes, however many we're using, and the kids then know that that app launcher thing is available. If kids go in there and practice on the ACT or whatever, what does that mean? Is it going to refresh if they then do it in another class?
No, it's the same test.
We're opening a can of worms. Once they go in there and they know it's there, they might go in there and practice or just go in there.
Well, they're supposed to practice. Oh, wait, you're talking about practice where? In the mock administration?
I'm just saying like, okay, once the kids know that apps launcher is there, what's to stop a 10th grader that is extra vigilant, maybe they're a magnet student, from going back into there and doing practice tests or whatever the case may be?
Why not? Well, why not have them go back? If when I was in school and I had homework to do, I did the homework problems 2 or 3 times. Why not have them go back and do the same test again? I don't understand your point.
I'm just saying from a teacher's perspective, if that's my lesson and I want to present it to the class, but they've already done it.
Oh, no, Mary, do not have teachers use that as a lesson. Those are practice tests for the students. If a student was to go through the test one time and then go back and do the test again, why stop them?
So they can go back to the test more than once?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I thought once they answered the questions, they wouldn't be able to access those test questions again.
No, okay, they're not putting when. Okay, let me go into test nav. Okay, so I'm going to test nav. All right, I'm in test nav right here. So I'm going in. It's loading. All right, so let's see. Give me a moment. All right, so here's the practice test. Nowhere in here do they enter their email address or anything. Nothing is stopping them from going to that test again. So if I go to math and I want to do the time test or the on-time test, or if I want to do the text-to-speech in either time to on-time, let's do the time test. So when I go to the time test, you see it's a guest. So I start. Now these directions are the same they would see in the actual test. So I'm going to go ahead and start. So there are 60 questions. and 60 questions, 1 hour. So remember, math is 1 hour. So we start. The calculator is permitted. All right, so I do the arrow right here, and then answer the question. So let's say the answer is B. So I go to the next one. Let's say the answer is D again, and go to the next one, and then E. All right, and then if I just want to quit, I can go to review right here, scroll all the way down, and then just end section. All right, and then I want to submit my final answers. You have to submit. There's nothing else you can do. Okay, and then they give you this. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and sign out. So I'm signing out of TestNav. All right, so let's go ahead and let's see what happens if I sign back in right here. Let's see. So I'm going to go back to practice test. I'm going to go back to math, go back to timed. All right, so guessed again, 60 questions. Go here. You see, same question. They can go back and do it over and over and over again. Why not let them do that?
I didn't realize that they could do it over and over again. I thought once they submitted, they would no longer have access to that class. But thank you for clarifying.
You're welcome. Yeah, I don't want teachers using this as a lesson. It shouldn't be used as a lesson at all.
Why not?
I did today, Michael, with some of my kids who are taking ACT prep. So I did it with them this morning, and some of them were not happy with what their score was. Can I do it again? Yes, you can.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. All right. So that's that. Now let's go to the next one.
Michael, I have one question.
Yes.
On this mock administration, do we need to pull the actual test administrators to go to those rooms?
So I would, and the reason for that is so when you use those teachers, I would try as best I can to get the same people who are actually going to do the test, because in the mock administration, the room supervisor has to go in and close those tests. So to close those tests, they have to remove any student that did not test, and any student that logged out prematurely, they have to go and submit complete, just like we talked about in the previous meeting. So yes, the mock administration is practice for them as well. Now you don't have to, but remember you have to do some training, right? So in the training, you need to make sure that when they go to the training, that you show them and you have them practice on how to get the seal codes, how to unlock a test session, how to close a test session, how to remove students from a test session that did not test, how to do an irregularity report, how to mark students completed if they accidentally logged out or if they left for the day. So all these things. Because
Michael,
yes.
This is different from the 8-minute session we were talking about.
No.
Right?
The 8 minutes was for the students.
Okay.
Yeah, the 8 minutes for the students. So all of this other stuff can be done at the end of the day. You can go back at the end of the day and have them do all this. Is that clear? For the mock? Ms. Banguel, yes. Okay. Yeah, the 8 minutes for the students. So the students, they do that, and then the teacher continues the lesson. But at the end of the day, just to start our training, I would go back and have them go through their session, and if all the students took the test, then just mark the session complete. Close the session. If there's some students that didn't take it, it's very easy to move them out and then close the session. If some students, and in your case, no one will ever log out because they're in the classroom. They're not going home sick. But if someone does leave to go home, they would have to log out. The room supervisor, and we saw that in a meeting before, would have to mark the student complete. And then once that's done, you close the session. but you are going to have to tell them how to get the seal codes though before the mock session. So Michael, you created your sessions. How do you plan on dealing with the seal codes and the seal codes? How do you plan on dealing with the seal codes? Michael?
TAs are going to have to open them up on that morning.
Okay, good. So and I would have the TAs because they're the ones that have to do it on the real test. So Michael, how are you going to show them how to do that?
It depends on when you show us how to do it.
Okay, so a fair question. All right, so here's the video. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and show you that video, and I'll tell you where it's located. All right, so let me go to the Canvas course. All right, so I'm about to show you how to get the authorization ticket. And by the way, you can do the seal codes also, but I would have the room supervisor do it. So those seal codes don't get out. Have the room supervisor do it right before testing that morning. I must have logged out of Canvas. No, here it is. All right. So
we have to create user accounts for the TAs for the.
Yes, that was when you go. I'll remind you, Everett. So one of the coordinator tasks, remember, was the mock administration. That was 21. When I click on the down arrow, you had to create. You had to first of all create user accounts for the room supervisors who will do the mock administration. So in the mock administration, in the training, you have to create accounts for them. Yes. Did I answer your question?
Yes, sir.
All right. So with regards to the seal codes and the authorization tickets, the video is let's see, it's probably in two places. I'm gonna go where it says online test information. Okay, this one right here. So printing authorization tickets and obtaining seal codes. So I'm gonna go ahead and start playing that. So let me go make sure I do this right. All right, so bear with me. All right, so I'm gonna do the sound, and then, okay, so, all right, so I'm gonna go ahead and start playing. Okay, so we're going to discuss how to get the authorization tickets and also how to get the seal codes. So the test coordinator has to print the authorization tickets and provide that to the room supervisor the morning of the test. So let's talk about how to do that. So you're going to go to testing, you're going to go to sessions, and remember your sessions will be not prepared. All right, so make sure that it says not prepared. And so you're going to go to, so let's say
Should we hear sound?
Right, oh, I'm sorry. I thought y'all were. 12 that has 2 students. And so you're going to go to, all right, I'm going to try it again. You're going to click on show students in sessions and control sessions. And all right, I did it the same way as before, and you're not hearing it?
I'm not.
Was anyone else hearing it?
No, I don't hear anything either.
Okay, so let's try it again. So I'm doing the same thing I did before. So I'm going here, include computer sound, and okay, let's see. All right, include computer sound. All right, let's do this again. I'm sorry. All right. This. All right, let me know if y'all can hear it. Okay, so we're going to just... Could y'all hear that?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right. Discuss how to get the authorization tickets and also how to get the seal codes. So the test coordinator has to print the authorization tickets and provide that to the room supervisor the morning of the test. So let's talk about how to do that. So you're going to go to testing, you're going to go to sessions, and remember your sessions will be not prepared. All right, so make sure that it says not prepared. And so you're going to go to, so let's say you want to use Veal right here, TC1 Veal, room 212, that has 2 students. And so you're going to go to the task pane. You're going to click on Show Students in Sessions and Control Sessions. And then notice in the session list right here, you have the room name right here, or the session list name. And you can click on it. The students will show up here. But here's where you go. So you're going to go to Resources. So under Resources, you can print where it says Student Authorization Tickets. So you can print for this section. And you can also print Selected for this section. So if you click on Print All for this session, that's going to print all of them. If you just want to print just one of them, go to Resources, and you're going to click Print Selected for this session, which means that it will only print the one that's checked off. But you're probably going to want to print all of them. So notice I didn't check anything, so I'm just going to print all of them, right? So you're going to go Print All for this session, click on this, and there's the 2 student authorization tickets. You could print 1 per page. You could print multiple per page like this. That's how it looks. You could print in a grid format, which look like the multiple per page. You could print in list. All right, so that is how you would get the student authorization ticket. You could also, let me go back to test sessions. So let's say you want to print all of these right here. So all these 3 that says not prepared, just picking some examples here. So you're gonna print more than one session. So you're gonna go to task pane, click on Show Students in Sessions and Control Sessions, and then notice a combined view right here. So you could do combined view. So these are all the students, right? So you got to be a little bit careful here. So when I do that, let's see, it's not showing. So I guess you have to do each one individually. Yeah. So you're going to have to click on each room individually to get the authorization tickets. So I clicked on the first one where it says Banga. I'm going to click on Print All for this session. So there are the authorization tickets. You could print 1 per page. You could click multiple per page like that. You could click grid just like this. You could do the list. Usually though, what you're probably going to do is you may want to print 1 per page, so that way the students could use the bottom portion of the sheet for any scratch work. But remember, the authorization ticket must be picked up at the end of testing and sent back to ACT. All right, so that's how you could do the authorization tickets. Then if you click on the next one, those out room 121, you could print tickets for all of these students by just going to Resources and then click on Print All for this session. And again, you could go 1 per page, which is probably what you would need to do if the students are going to use that for scratch paper. And then multiple per page, the grid, and then list. Okay, so that is how you would print the authorization tickets. So you're going to, again, for a quick review, if you want to do all 3, rather than going each time and clicking 1, you could do all 3 right here. Go to Show Students in Sessions and Control Sessions, and then go to right here where it says Resources, and then print all for the session, and then go 1 per page, multiple, and so on. Okay? All right. So that is how you would print the authorization tickets. Now, as a test coordinator, you could also print the seal codes, although I would not do that. That should be done the morning of the test by the room supervisor. But you could look at the seal codes or print the seal codes for the room supervisor. But you have to be careful. It's specific to that test for that session. So if you go to testing, go back to sessions, and let's say you want to do the 3 again. Right here that I have checked off, you're going to go to task, show students in session control sessions. Let's click on Banga right here, and then you see where it says resources, just the same way you went for the authorization tickets. Here are the seal codes. So click on seal codes, and then there are the seal codes for Banga. See right here it says session name, Banga. So these are Banga's seal codes. All right, now this is secure. If you do this, as a test coordinator you do this, you need to make sure that this is not stolen or lost, because then the students have access to all of those seal codes in advance. So I would let the room supervisor do the seal codes. All right, so that's how you could get the seal codes. And then you go to the next room, same thing, go to resources, and then do seal codes. And there are the seal codes for each of the tests. And notice up here the session name is Dozak Room 121. All right. So let's go to Veal. So Veal has 2 students. I'm going to the seal codes. Notice there's no print button, right? But if you right click and print, let's see, you could print it that way and then print the seal codes. All right. Okay, now the test coordinator would do that. So let me go ahead and log in as a the room supervisor. The room supervisor would do the seal code. So let me go ahead and log in as a room supervisor so you'll see what the room supervisor sees. Okay, so I'm in as a room supervisor. So the room supervisor is going to do the same thing. The room supervisor is going to go to testing, go to sessions, and then there are the sessions. And so the room supervisor needs to find their session. So let's say it's my session. So I'm going to find my name. I'm going to click on the little box next to my name, to my session. And then I'm going to go to show students in sessions and control sessions. And then I'm going to click on the session list name so the students can show up. So I clicked on this. There are the students that showed up, right? So I'm going to go to resources. I'm going to click on seal codes. And when I click on seal codes, there are the seal codes for my test, for my session. So for my session, there's English, math, reading, and science. All right, so let's do this again. So as a room supervisor, let me go to home. The room supervisor would click on testing, go to sessions. So the room supervisor is going to see all the sessions that the test coordinator created. So the room supervisor needs to find their session. So let's say it's it's a standard time foreman. So I click on the little box. Then I'm going to go to the task pane, go to show students in sessions and control sessions. All right, you got to click on the session list name for the students to show up. So click on this. Students showed up, and then you go to resources and you click on seal codes, and then there are the seal codes, and notice the session name. Make sure that that's the correct session name. And then there are the seal codes for English, math, reading, and science for this session right here. Standard time, foreman 103. All right, so that is how we're going to get the authorization tickets and also. All right, so do y'all have any questions on the seal codes? Seal codes only. Y'all see how to do that, right? Michael, do you see that now?
I do.
Okay, thank you. Now, I want to say something about the authorization ticket, and that is in this video right here. You can, and then I found this out after I did that first video, you can print authorization tickets for multiple sessions, and I'll show you how real quick. So let me go to training. Let me go to a training session. I'll show you how easy this is. So if you want to print, like Michael, in your case, if you want to print all 25 sessions at once, you can do that. So let me go to training real quick and show you how to do that. It's very simple. Okay, so I'm going to go to yours, Michael. So I'm going to go to yours. I'm going to go to your school. And I'm going to go to testing and sessions. So these are all of yours, right? So let's say, Mike, you just want to print these right here. All these tickets, right? Let's say for those. I'm just going to pick these. All right. So you're going to go to, remember, I want to print all 25 here, all 25 here, all 2 here, all 1, and so on. So I'm going to click all of these. I'm going to go to the task pane, and right here, generate test tickets. Go here, go to the start, and these are the sessions. It says this: current selections include 96 test tickets for 6 sections. You go here where it says generate test tickets. I'm going to show you what that's going to look like. So you can do 1 per page, and I would do 1 per page because the students can use that as their scratch paper. So do 1 per page and watch what happens. So downloads at the bottom. I'm going to open it up. So the session name is going to appear here. So when you do the real session, Michael, I'm assuming you're going to include the teacher's last name so they'll know which session is theirs. But it'll be here, and then there's the student tickets. And then you have it for the other one as well. Let me find the other one. So the other one is, let's see. So the other session will be somewhere in there. There it is. There's the other one, and then there's their tickets. So you could paperclip all this together and give to them the morning of. All right, so any questions on that? So that's how you can print every student for multiple sessions. Any questions? Do I need to go over this again? Okay. So that's how you're going to print authorization tickets, and the room supervisor can look at the seal codes. All right, so let me go.
Okay, Michael,
yes.
One question. Okay, on the seal codes where it says start date and location, I have to put that in.
I'm not
somewhere.
sure where you mean the seal codes being start date and location.
It's when I open up, when I say seal codes, I'm doing TC White. Okay, and he has the ACT and the start date, and then it says location, and then it gives me the codes for English, math, reading, and science.
Let me just I got to go back and see what you're referring to. So I'm going to, let me just do 1. All right, so for the seal codes, I'm going to go here, show students, click on it, and then go here, click on seal codes. Oh, no. That's going to be blank. You're just going to, you just worry about this information here.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, but thanks for the question. I forgot to mention that. But the room supervisor, see, the reason why I mentioned this previously to include the room supervisor's last name on the session name is because the room supervisor needs to make sure they open the correct session name, because the seal codes are different.
Yeah.
For each session. All right. Okay. But thank you for that question. All right. Any others? All right. So let's go to the agenda. All right. So I showed you where the mock administration folder is, and we talked about the 4 tests. We talked about adding more examinees in mock administration. We talked about printing authorization tickets and seal codes, and we talked about multiple sessions at once. All right. So let's talk about setting up test sessions. Let's see. There's a video on that. Let me just kind of go through the manual where that's located. So I'm going to the manual, and let's see. Online manual. Okay, so setting up test sessions starts on page, let's see, test administration, where is it? All right, where was setting up test sessions? Oh, here it is. Okay, so it starts on page 41. All right, so I'm going to go on page 41. I'm going to ask you some questions. Go on page 41. All right. Does everyone know how to create a test session? Let me rephrase it. Who does not know how to create a test session? Okay. The next one.
Me.
Who said that?
Me.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to show you this video then. Everybody, I'm going to show you all this video. Because Andrea, we did this last time, you remember? But you may have forgotten that, and it's fine. Let me just kind of show you the video again. But the directions are here, Andrea. You see where the directions are? There are the directions. Let me show you that video. It's on page.
Yes, that was not me, but I do see what you're saying. That was not me speaking out.
Oh, because when someone said me, you were blue. So just go ahead and turn your mic off.
Yes, I was getting ready to ask a question.
Okay. Oh, what's your question? What's your question? What's your question?
The way we set up test sessions is the same way we set it up for the training, is correct?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, the training is practice for the actual setting up in PA Next. Who said me earlier? I apologize, Andrew. I thought it was you.
It's all good.
It was Ruffin.
Okay. So let me go to that video. So the video is located here, Karen. Let me see. I think it's on the online manual, setting up test session right here. So okay. So let's go ahead and look at that. All right. So please, if you don't hear the sound, quickly tell me. I'm gonna see if it'll work again. Let's see. Please work. Okay, so you'll hear this. Learn how to set up test sessions. So the test coordinator has to be able to perform the following. The test coordinator has to create a test session. The test coordinator has to edit a test session. The test coordinator has to be able to delete a test session. The test coordinator has to be able to run the accommodations and support roster or other operational reports. The test coordinator has to be able to determine which examinees to assign to a test session. The test coordinator has to be able to assign examinees to a test session. And finally, in this section, the test coordinator has to be able to know how to remove examinees from a test session. So we're now going to practice each of these items that are in the section called setting up test sessions. So we're going to do this in the training platform for ACT. So let's go ahead and do this. So I'm in the training platform. Notice it says Training ACT, and there's the name of the school. And so the first thing I want to do is I want to create a test session. You can't do anything else except, let me show you quickly, except you can run the accommodation support roster, other operational reports without having to create a test session. But all the other stuff you need to have created a test session. So let's talk about the first thing is to create a test session right here. Create a test session. So let's follow the steps in the training platform. Okay, so first thing you're going to do is you're going to go to testing, and then you're going to go to sessions. Very simple, right? Sessions. I want to create a session, so I'm going to go to sessions. And then when you go to sessions, it's still turning. You are then going to see all the sessions that you've created. But I want to create a new one, right? So I want to create a new test session. So I'm going to go to in the task pane right here. I'm going to go to task pane, select task, and then you see right here, very simple. What's your question?
Is everybody else seeing a green screen, or is that just me?
It's green.
No, it's not you. It does that on a laptop, but I'm also on a computer, and it doesn't do it on a computer, but on a laptop it does.
Okay, all right, thank you.
So are all of you seeing the video, except for Ms. Bangwa? I mean, Ms. Banguel?
I have a green screen too, but I'm on a laptop.
Were you able to see the previous video?
It was doing the same thing. It goes in and out.
Okay.
I was able to see the previous one, so I'll try to switch devices again.
Okay, let me.
Michael, it looks fine on my laptop.
Okay. Ms. Banguel, try something, and because it's working on others, so it cannot be me that made the error this time.
I agree. I'm about to switch devices.
Okay, thank you. All right, let me.
So am I.
Can y'all? Okay, let me do this. Let me do. Hold on. Give me. Okay, I'm gonna include computer sound. Let me do this again. All right, I'm gonna continue. Can simple create? Edit, can y'all hear the sound? All right, so I'm gonna go and click on that. Put a little check mark in that box.
Yes.
Okay. And then you're gonna click on start. When I click on start, I get the create session, the details for a new session. Anything with an asterisk has to be completed. All right, so let's talk about that session name. Let's look at the manual again. So notice it says this. Okay, right here, we're on number 4, that first bullet, session name. Name the session so that it can be easily identified, such as double time, standard time, and so on. Now remember, your room supervisor also has to be able to identify their test session because they have to do some things during the test or after the test and before the test in PA Next. All right, so I would also include in the session name, I would include the room supervisor's last name. So let's say it's standard time. Now remember, standard time and TC1 are the same time. All right, the same minutes for each test. But remember, when we talk about timing codes, when we discuss timing codes, they are specifically used with students with accommodations. So it is possible for ACT to have assigned timing code 1 for a student with accommodations. Timing code 1 would imply that the student with accommodations is going to have the same time as standard time. So if it's just a standard time session, I would just say ST for standard time. All right, that's the way I would do it. Standard time, ST. And then I would put the room supervisor's last name. And so let's say the room supervisor is, let's see, let's say it's Foreman. So let's go ahead and put Foreman, F-O-R-E-M-A-N. All right, and if you want to put the room number, you can. So let's say Mr. Foreman is in room 103. All right, so I know that as a test coordinator and also as a room supervisor, I know that these students are standard time students. They're not students with accommodations. And I know that this is my session because my name is listed there. And as a test coordinator, I know that this is Foreman's session. And I know where they're located. They are located in room 103. All right. And then organization has an asterisk. Make sure your organization's name is there. Test assigned. Make sure you say ACT multiple choice. It's still searching. Let's see. Here we go. All right. Scheduled date. So let's talk about that scheduled date. All right, so I'm pulling this back over. See right here, scheduled date, right here, scheduled start date. Select the date of the session. All right, the date the session starts. If the session is for examinees testing with accommodations over multiple days, select the first date the examinees will test. So there's the scheduled start date. The scheduled start time, leave it as the default at 1 a.m. Okay? All right, so let's move this over and let's go back to the scheduled start date. So remember, you're going to put the date, if it's standard time, the date of the test. If it's accommodations over multiple days, you're going to choose that first date, that first day the test starts. So let's say it starts tomorrow, Wednesday, right? Okay. All right, and then the group type, the form group type. All right, now we're in mock administration, so there's only one thing listed. There's only one, mock administration. So you have no other choice but to use the mock administration. But when you actually go in to create your test sessions, there are going to be others listed. So this is what it says about the form group type. Select the form group type that matches the day of the week. So either Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Remember, online testing is only on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. The day of the week and the date when the session will be administered. The form group type must be a date in the future. Past dates cannot be used. Okay. So when you actually go into PA Next, make sure you use the correct form type that corresponds to the scheduled start date, right? So this and this must correspond. All right, and then leave it as 1 a.m. the start time. We're not going to do pre-caption, so leave that blank. And then at this point, if you want to, you can add students now, but I wouldn't do that because you would have to search each one individually, and you can only add one at a time. So I wouldn't do that here. I would do it at another time, and I'll show you another way to do this. All right, and then there's my session, and then I'm going to create. And I've created my session. So notice there's my session, standard time, foreman, room 103. If I click on it, there's the information. Okay? If you need to create another session, you go and you create another session. See right here? So you create a new session. So let's say I want to create timing code, let's say 6. Timing code 6. And this time, let's say it is Grimmer who's the room supervisor. And let's say that Ms. Grimmer is in lab 100. All right, so Grimmer knows which one's her session. You as a room supervisor knows that this session is Grimmer, where they're located, and that all the students in that session have timing code 6. Remember, timing code 6 is time and a half single day. Time and a half single day. And then don't forget to do all this other stuff. So we're going to choose ACT multiple choice. The start date, let's say, is Thursday. And then you would make sure that this form group type matches the day of the week and the date. Okay? Leave it as 1 a.m. Yo, make sure you mute yourself, please. Someone's not muted. Thank you. And create. And so now I have 2 sessions I've created. So very simple, right? Very simple to create sessions. All right, so that is, so right now, you know, as a test coordinator, you now know how to create test sessions. Just follow these steps. Okay? All right, so that was this one. Now we're going to look at how to edit a test session. So for example, let's suppose that one of the sessions I created, the room supervisor that I'm going to put in that session has changed, right? Or it could be that the date of the test has changed. So let's talk about that. So let's talk about how to edit a test session. Very simple to do. So we're going to go back into PA Next. In our case, it'll be the training. And you're going to go to testing, and you're going to list your sessions because I want to edit a session, right? So you're going to list your sessions. So these are all the sessions that I've created. Some have students in them already, some do not. All right, no big deal. But I want to edit one of those sessions. So let's say I want to go, see where it says TC1 Wells, timing code 1 Wells. So let's go ahead and edit that one. Now remember, timing code 1 is actually students with accommodations that have timing code 1. So sometimes we tend to think standard time is timing code 1 because they have the same time, the same minutes for each test. But these are these could be students in small group only that need that only require the same time as standard time. So just be careful. Sometimes we use those synonymously, timing code 1 or standard time. But timing code 1, there have been instances where students with accommodations were given timing code 1. All right, so let's say I want to edit this one, right? So we're talking about editing a test session. So let's go ahead and put the little check mark here. Let me go ahead and remove this one. So put a check mark here. and then I want to edit that test session. So we're going to go to the task pane and go to create edit session, right? Same place you went to create. So I'm going to go ahead and check this off. Then we're going to click on start and watch how simple this is. It's a very simple process. It's still turning, and there's that session I want to edit. So let's go ahead and click on it. And then let's say that I need to put in Wells for that session, I need to put the room number. All right, so let's go ahead and edit. So I'm just going to put the room number. So let's say this is room 816B. Okay, 816B. And then let's say just for our purposes that I need to change the date. So I can come back and change the date right here. So let's say I need to start on March 8th. So now it's on March 8th, but remember, be very careful. That date must match this, because remember, when I say this, I meant the form group type, because remember, this is what it says in the instructions in the manual. It says this. Let me go to it and show you. It says form group type. Select the form group type that matches the day of the week and the date when that session will be administered. So it must match the day of the week. So I went from Wednesday to Tuesday. So that right here must match the Tuesday and the date. So March 8th. Okay? All right, so don't forget to do that. And I already have some students in there, but I just wanted to show you how to edit. And then remember, when you change anything here, make sure you save. So I can save here, or I can save here. It does not matter. And now changes are saved. And so notice the session name has changed, the date has changed, and then at some point in the actual PA Next, the form group type will change as well. And if you need to at this point, you can go ahead and create a session. All right, you can do that now also, because there's a button, right? Create a test session. Okay. All right, so now you know how to create a test session, and you also know how to edit a test session. So now what we're going to do is we're going to learn how to delete a test session. So let's talk about how to delete a test session. Now, be very careful. It says this. If you're going to delete a test session where there are students already in it, you can only delete a test session if you remove all examinees from a test session before it is deleted. And so see remove examinees from a test session on page 44 for instructions. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's go back and find a session that I want to delete, but there are already students in it. All right, so let's go ahead and do that. So these are the sessions, and notice some of the sessions have students and some do not, right? Notice the very last one, the one that says TC6 Grammar Lab 100. There are no students in there, and it says not prepared. So since there are no students in there and it says not prepared, I can delete that session right away. So let's go ahead and show you how to do that. So remember, you can only delete if there are no students. And the fact that it says not prepared means that it's not in progress and it's not stopped. All right, so not prepared, I can delete as long as there's no students in there. So this is the simplest kind, where there are no students and it says not prepared. So put a little check mark. Watch how simple this is. Go to the task pane up here. Go to the task pane. And then you're going to click on, well, now you can just delete. Remember, there are no students, right? So just click on delete sessions and then start. And then it's going to ask you, let's see, still turning. Still turning. Okay, it's going to ask you one last time. Are you sure you want to delete this session? Because it says this action is not reversible. All right, I'm going to say yes. I want to delete it. So go ahead and delete. And then changes saved. No session selected. Exit task. And notice Grimmer is no longer in my list. Okay? Now, what if I want to delete the one that says Wells Room 817B that has 4 students in it? Okay, so that's separate. I mean, that's different. For example, watch. I'm going to click on this, and then I'm going to go back to the task pane, and I'm going to click on Delete Sessions. Notice what happens. What happens if I click on Delete Sessions? Watch. Go to Start, and then, let's see. Well, let's see what happens. Okay. So look at what it says. TC1 room 817 session cannot be deleted because it has students assigned. So right away, see it says error in saving changes. So before, let me hit exit. Before you can delete a session, those 4 students have to be removed. Okay? So let's go ahead and do that. So I want to delete this session. I need to remove those 4 students. So let's say I'm going to put those 4 students in another session. So I'm just going to go ahead and delete this session out of my list. Okay, so you're going to put a check mark. You're going to go to the task pane. You're going to click on Show Students because you got to remove those students, right? So you need to show the students. Show Students. Okay, now notice there aren't any students listed, right? Okay, so and right here it says add a specific section to the left or search all sessions in the training 2022 below. It's just right here. That's what I want to remove students from. So click on this. Watch what happens when I click on this. Okay, now the students are showing up. Okay, I want to remove all the students, right? So let's just check the top box. All those students are checked off. Okay, once all the students are checked off, I am now going to go back to the task pane. And then I'm going to click the one that says remove students from sessions. So if I click on remove students from sessions and then start right here, and it's going to ask you one last time, are you sure you want to do this? And yes, I do. So I'm going to click on the top box. It checks off all of them. And then I'm going to click remove. And when I click remove, there are no student test assignments selected. Changes were saved. And I'm going to show you something. I'm going to go to exit task. And notice, see TC Wells right here? No students are there anymore. Those 4 students are gone. The session's still there, but the students are no longer there. All right? So right now I haven't deleted the session, right? All I've done was I removed the students from that session. All right, so I want to show you something else. So when I go back to testing and to the sessions, notice that TC Wells is still a session. So if I wanted to, I could add other students to that session. There aren't any. Remember, I took them out, right? There were 4. They're all gone. But I don't want to do that. I just want to delete that session. So now that there are no students in it, I can now go to, remember, you got to check it off, though. You got to go to task pane, and now I can delete sessions. And then start. It's going to ask you one last time, are you sure you want to delete this session? Because this action is not reversible. Yes, I do. Click on delete, and changes were saved. Go ahead and exit task, and notice TC Wells, whatever it was, TC6, I think, is no longer there. Okay? So now you now know how to create a test session, edit a test session, delete a test session, and delete a test session if there are no students in it, and you know how to delete a test session if there are students in it by first removing the examinees from a test session. Now, what I want to do is talk about how to assign examinees to a test session. Now that you've created the test session, you edited the test session, you now need to assign examinees to the test session. Now, let's talk about this one important thing. You need to determine which examinees to assign to a test session. So you need, for each of those examinees, you need to determine which ones are standard time, which ones are accommodations with timing code 1, timing code 2, timing code 3, timing code 5, and there are 2 timing code 5s, timing code 6, and timing code 7, right? Okay, so you have to determine which examinees to assign to a test session. All right, so let's read this. All examinees in a test rooms in a sitting test as a group. They must receive the same verbal instructions, work on the same tests, and take breaks at the same time. Assign examinees to separate test sessions accordingly. Tests will not be scored or scores will be canceled if this policy is violated. For example, the following may not test together in the same room or in the same sitting. The first bullet, standard time and any accommodations timing code, including timing code 1. So for example, you cannot put standard time with timing code 2 or timing code 3 and so on. Even timing code 1. Standard time and those students with accommodations that have timing code 1, even though they're the same minutes, you cannot put them together. Okay? So it's very important. It is very important you know for accommodations, you know which ones are which ones have which timing codes. All right. So standard time students test with only standard time students. Timing code 2 students test with only timing code 2 students. Timing code 3 students test only with timing code 3 students. We very rarely have a student with accommodations that have timing code 1. Usually it's timing code 2, 3, 5, 6, or 7. All right. You can, and notice the second bullet, you cannot test with in the same room different timing codes, different accommodations. Those who must test individually, including breaks as needed, online format, and paper format. Use the accommodations and support roster to correctly assign examinees testing with accommodations. So that's important. Make sure you go to PA Next, and this was discussed in a previous meeting, and there's a video on that on how to run the accommodation support roster or other operational reports. So make sure you know how to do this, because that's going to help you with determining which examinees to assign to a test. All right, so this one right here says use the accommodations and support roster to correctly assign examinees testing with accommodations. If an examinee needs to be moved from one session to another, do not use the Move Examinees Between Test Sessions task on the Session Select Task menu. Instead, remove the examinees from the currently assigned session and assign the examinee to a different session. Note, when you move the student to a different test session, the student authorization ticket from the previous session will not work, and a new one must be printed. So again, that note. So if you move a student from one session to another, you must print out the new authorization ticket. The old one will no longer work. Okay? All right. So that's determining which examinees to assign to a test session. Now let's go ahead and assign examinees to a test session. So let's go ahead and do that. All right. So when assigning examinees to a test session, you're going to go to testing and make sure you went to the accommodations roster to get the list of students with accommodations and their timing codes. That's important. Once you do all that, then you're going to go to testing. Then you're going to go to sessions, right? Okay. And then let's say I want to put students in the session that's called ST, which is standard time, Foreman, room 103. Notice right now, there are no students in that session, and it says not prepared. All right, so I'm going to click on this right here, click on Foreman's name, his session name. Then I'm going to go to the task pane right here. Click on the task pane, and you're now going to click on Show Students in Sessions and Control Sessions. All right, so you can click on this. So you got to click on the session list right here. You got to click on foreman's name. Notice it's not prepared, and there are no students. So now you got to put some students in there. Okay, so I kind of messed this up, but basically what this is saying is you're finding students in this list. Well, there's none, right? There's none. So what you got to do is once you click on this session list, notice there's nothing in there, right? So now you're going to go to the task pane. That was where I forgot to go. You're going to go to the task pane, and then you're going to click on Add Students to Sessions right here. So click on Add Students to Session, then go and Start. All right. So then you're going to go and Start, and then you're going to click on the session name right here, and then this is what I wanted to do. So you can search by the last name, or you can click on that down arrow and click on Show All Results. And these are the students that are at your school that are not in a test session. So you can choose from one of those. So let's say it's this one, let's say it's this one, and this one, and this one, and keep on going. And notice there are multiple pages, so you have to go through each of those pages if you do this way. Or if you know the last names, you can quickly search that way and add as you go. So I'm going to go ahead and click on those 4 students, and I'm going to add. And notice that I now have, okay, it says right here, change of state, right? So I'm going to exit. I'm going to show you something. And so now notice those are the 4 students I just added into foreman's session. All right, and then I'm going to go back. I want to show you something else. I'm going to go back to testing, sessions, and notice foreman right here now has 4 students. So let's go over this again. So let's go to Veal right here. Let's go through this process. I know I messed up in one little part, so let's do that again. So I want to add some students in Veal's class, right? In Veal's session. So I'm going to click on this. Then I'm going to go to the task pane. I'm going to go to Show Students in Sessions and Control Sessions. All right, Veal's test session shows up. Click on it. Notice no students, right? So then I need to add students. So to add students, you're going to go to the task pane, and then you're going to click on Add Students to Sessions. So click that, click on Start, find the session right here. You want to add students to this session. Click on Veal, and if you know the last names, you can search the last name, right? You can search the last name, or if you want to just use a drop-down menu, click on Show All Results. You can do it that way. Although keep in mind that right now I have 497 available students. I would have to go through each of those pages to find them. All right. So it may be easier just to go ahead and do this by last name. Let's say you have 15 students. It won't be that bad. Just search last name. Once you find the last name, let's say it's a last CI, and then search. Notice there it is. Click on it and add. And then you go to the next one. So let's say it's last AB, search. Oops, there wasn't no last AB, so let's find another last. Let's say last AO. There it is. Click on it, add. So now there should be 2 students in that session. So you could do that way as well. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and exit. When I exit, notice those are the 2 students I just added right here. And if I go back to testing and sessions, notice that in Veal's session at the bottom, there are now 2 students. All right, so that's how you're going to add students to a test session. Now, let me show you something. So remember this little part here that read, if an examinee needs to be moved from one session to another, do not use the Move Examinee Between Test Sessions task on the Session Select Task menu. Instead, remove the examinee from the currently assigned session and assign the examinee to a different session. All right, now remember, when you move the student to a different test session, you must print out the new student authorization ticket. So the previous authorization ticket, that's authorization ticket from the previous session, will not work anymore. All right, so let's talk about about this little part. So I'm going to move an examinee from one session, and let's say we need to put them in another session. So let's just see how to do that. All right, so let's suppose I want to remove a certain student from DOZOC room 121 right here. So I'm going to click on this. So remember, I need to remove that student, right? So click on it, go to select task, to the task pane, select task. We're going to go to show students in sessions and show sessions. This is what they were talking about. Do not use add remove students in sessions right here. You're going to go here. So click on this and click on DOZOC, and those are the 5 students. So let's say this is the one I want to remove. So I'm going to go ahead and list the student code right here. So the student code is, I'm going to go ahead and write it down. The student code is 506397182. Or you can do last name, because you could use that as well. Last name AT. All right, and so I need to remove that student from this list, from this session, and I need to add him to another session. So we're going to click the little box, check mark, go here now, and this is where you're going to click on remove student from session, right here, just like you did before. Click on this, start, and then we got to find the one I want to remove. So that was, let's see which one, it was this one right here, with 182 right here. So this is the one I want to remove. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and remove, and that student has been removed. So I'm going to go ahead and exit task right here. Okay, so notice there are now 4 students in this session. What I want to do now is I want to take that student just removed, and I want to put him in a new session. All right, so then I'm going to go back to my testing, go back to sessions, and then let's say I want to put that student in, let's say Banga, TC1 Banga. So I'm going to click on TC1 Banga, and I'm going to go to select task, and then I'm going to click on show students in sessions and control sessions. I'm going to click on Banga right here, and then these are the 4 students in Bangas. I want to then go to select task, and then I'm going to add student right here. Click on start, click on Banga, and then last name, I think the last name was LASTAT, and then that's the one right here, 7182. So we click on this, and I'm going to add, and changes were saved, or changes saved, exit task, and now notice in Banga's class right here, session list, Banga, this student is now added. Okay, and so that is it. So that is the information on setting up test sessions. Okay, so I know it's long. We're gonna stop here, but let me. Can someone mute themselves? Thank you. Let's see who had a. All right. Okay, so any questions on this, on setting up test sessions? Karen, you're gonna have to go through that in practice. You said you didn't know how to create test sessions. So it's a lot more involved than just creating test sessions. You have all of this that you had to do, right? Right, Karen?
Yes, sir.
All right. So so go through the manual at those instructions that starts on page 41. Look at the video if you need to, and then go through the process. If you still have any issues, then you can call me or call someone else like Michael, Mary, Miss Banguel, and others. And please forgive me if I left your name out. Okay, so in terms of the agenda, we're gonna have to do some more later on this. So let's see, I stopped here. The training, you'll need to start thinking about how you're going to train your teachers, your room supervisors, and your proctors. All right, so remember, the room supervisors, you have to create an account, right? But what if your room supervisor is not there that day, and you didn't set one up for your proctor, or you didn't train your proctor? So you got to think about that. Even though the proctors do not have to have an account, it's a good idea to have them have an account, and it's a good idea to have them get the same training as a room supervisor just in case something happens. Is that clear? Okay, and we will do the rest next time. We'll do the rest next time, so next Thursday.
Hey, Mike.
Yes.
Can you edit that video where it only has the room supervisor duties and we can share that to the faculty?
I can create a different one. I'll go ahead and create a different one. So you just want something where where they would do the seal codes, or you want everything?
Seal code, removing a student if they're absent, all the stuff that a room supervisor is going to be responsible
Yeah,
for.
the way that I would probably do that then, Mike, is I would have like a separate video for each one. So one would be, because if I do all of them, it could take like 45 minutes or so. And so I'd rather just do one where they get the seal codes and then that's it. Then the next video will be they have to remove a student and then that's it. So I'll do it that way. Okay?
It's just the February 9th date is getting really, really close, and I want to get information out to them sooner rather than
Okay,
later.
so I'll work on it tonight and over the weekend, and I'll send it to all of you Monday.
Second question, do you know, are students allowed, when you talked about the authorization tickets being scratch paper, can they keep a sheet of paper through all 4 tests, or do we have to redistribute new paper like we do on the
No,
LEAP?
you can keep all. So if it's standard time, they take the test in one day. They can have the same scratch paper all day. Now at break, you need to make sure that the room supervisor and the proctor needs to make sure that nothing's taken out. Right?
Got it.
Now remember, if they take anything out, like that scratch paper, that's an irregularity. Their test is voided. So the room supervisor and the proctor needs to understand that they need to be vigilant in terms of making sure that when they dismiss for break between second and third test, that the students do not remove anything out of the classroom. But yeah, they can keep it for the whole test. If it's over multiple days, it has to be picked up after each day. So the way I would do that is I would, if the student writes something on if it's multiple days, and the student writes something on it on the first day, I would just print out a new authorization ticket for the second day. New sheet of paper. Okay? And at the end of testing, you would bring all that over here, and we would send all that back to ACT. Did I answer your question?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else? All right. So so next time we'll look at the 2 room forms that you have to complete, or you and the room supervisor would have to complete for online testing, and we'll look at the video on submitting an irregularity report. Okay? All right, y'all have any other questions? Don't leave yet, because I got to make sure you all signed in. Let me
Michael, on page 41, form group types, that is the same as the online delivery?
No, we talked about that in the video. So, Andrea, I need for you to go through that video again. It's discussed in there.
Okay.
The form group type was discussed. So when you actually do your PA Next sessions, we said the form group type has to match the date, the first date listed. All right, so go through that video. It does mention several times in the video about the form group type.
All right, thank you.
All right, any other questions? I'm very well, and you? All right, so I put the link back into the chat if you hadn't signed in, and I know we're over, and it's a lot of stuff. I just don't know how to do this in just 1.5 hours, and I appreciate you staying. All right, make sure y'all complete your mock administration task. For the mock administration, start thinking of a date in that second week of February where you're going to give it. Okay, if you need any help on the mock administration in terms of how to do this, you can ask me or any one of your colleagues. All right, well, have a great day, and I'll send this video to you as soon as possible. All right, guys, I'll see y'all later.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Thank
Bye,
you.
bye.
Bye.
Thank you,
You're
Michael.
welcome.